from here, we're going to talk about the glute muscle, because with a basic hip lift, our hips are moving up, right? We have this upward motion. With the hip lift, it's going to be a glute contraction and an abdomen contraction. And you're going to pull the abdomen up, and as you pull the abdomen up, you're going to contract your glute after the abdomen contraction. So it's going to be a contract and snap with the glute. So the glute is going to pop up. So let's try it on the right side a couple of times, where we're going to lift through our right body and contract that abdomen group of muscles right here and contract the glute in our good basic belly dancing posture. So bend those knees and then take the right side and lift. Release. Contract and lift. Release. Lift, contract, release. Lift, contract, release. Lift, contract, release. Now let's move to the left side and use that same idea. We're going to squeeze in the left abdomen and we're going to contract the left glute. Squeeze, contract. Release. Good. Lift, contract, release. Lift, contract, release. A couple more times. Lift, contract, release. Lift, contract, release. Great. It's always important to drill both sides equally. So the right side and the left side do need to be drilled at least the same amount of time, just to create balance in the body. So now let's actually go into alternating. So we're going to alternate right, left, and we're going to drill this over several times. So back in our basic belly dancing posture, we're going to start with the right hip, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. One more time. Right, left. Good. One more thing that I would like to address and take note of is going to be what we're doing with our knees. It's very important to make sure that you keep a very nice solid bend or plie in your knees when you're doing this movement. And then there's going to be a motion of your knees that it's kind of good just to kind of notice and take note of. And it also kind of lets you know that you're doing it correctly and you're on the right track. And with that, it's that your knees are moving forward and back, kind of like a piston. It's just one more thing to help give you an indication as to, if you're doing it correctly and if it looks right. So when you're moving your hips up and down, your knees are going front, back, and they're going back and forth. So take note of that. That's very important to kind of just look at. It just kind of helps guide you. It's a nice thing to know. The next thing is also when you're moving your knees front and back, I like to use analogies of our hips. And with your hip, think of it like a teeter-totter or a seesaw on a playground. Your hips are moving up and down, just like a teeter-totter. Take note, scan your body and see if your body is looking like this at home. A lot of times you can kind of ask yourself questions, am I doing my hips in a way that makes them look like a seesaw? Are my knees moving back and forth like a piston? And that'll kind of help guide you along to make sure that you are doing things correctly and that you aren't compromising the integrity of your body. And speaking of the integrity of your body, the last thing that I would like to note today, and this is definitely a please don't do to yourself kind of instruction, and that is when you're doing a hip lift and your knee is coming backwards, make sure that you keep your knees at a nice bend, even if it's at a slight bend or what's sometimes referred to as a micro bend. That's still fine, because if you don't keep your knees bent and if you don't stay in a good plie posture position, when you're pulling your knees back to lift your hip, what can happen if you don't be careful is you're going to snap your knee back, and it's going to look like that kind of boom. snap, snap. That's really, really unhealthy to do to your knees because it's a joint. And like any joint, such as, you know, your elbow or your knee, if you're consistently doing this to the joint, it's going to deteriorate the joint and it's going to create injuries, and it's just overall not going to be a good thing, of course. So please be very kind to your body and be very aware of what you're doing to your body. And as long as you maintain these proper aspects of posture, then you will create many, many beautiful, happy years of dancing. So thanks so much for joining us, and please join us again.